But this is Ryan and Kyle Lutz, the brothers that look alike behind me, and their entourage. They have been fishing in Bristol Bay, gill netting for several years now, and this is their 5th year of Fisher Poet. So please welcome Ryan and Kyle and the gang.
Thank you so much.
Upon a sigh.
New gloves and pull-throughs, hot soup, loose lines. This is all you're wishing for. Well, trouble's off of your mind. Trouble's off of your mind. Jokes told 1,000 times that never get too old. Keep the crew up and laughing through the wind, storm, and cold. The wind, storm, and cold. The wind, storm, and cold. Thank you all very much. It's a pleasure to be here. 5th year here. Couldn't ask for anything more. It's been one great event year after year. Love everybody coming back. This next one's about a guy I worked with for a few years out in Bristol Bay. His name was Dudley. He had a real colorful history. Now Dudley, the deckhand, was a man of great renown. In the company of kings, he's sure wear the crown. Misunderstood, sure, but
Thank you. These are our friends JC and Jacob, and we just learned the songs with them today. We're really happy they're joining us.
All right, we've got one more for you. To celebrate, I'm going to do a little shameless self-promotion, but to celebrate our 5th year out here, we finally went ahead and made a CD. I know a lot of people don't have CD players anymore, but if you want one, they're over in the Gear Shack. $5, 50 cents a track. It's a great deal. Nobody likes a thinker. Just go ahead and get one. Make
There's
your
stories
weekend.
on it, lots of funny stories, lots of good songs.
So this next one's about a captain I used to work for when I first moved up to Bristol Bay. He was always having trouble with his refrigerated seawater system, and this is kind of a song about that. Captain had a plan for when he got tired of his crew. He'd send us out to the liquor store for a 30 rack of brew. Then back in the boatyard, he'd pop an Ambien and wait our return. Take the rack to the cabin and order us to the stern, where we'd chip and paint and scrub and wax until Shuri was asleep. We'd tiptoe to the cabin and see how many beers we could sneak. Sometimes, drunk and delirious, he'd leave a 20 on the table, our cue to stay out at the bar for as long as we were able. And it was a night such as this that this story begins, and like most quality tales, it involves a few too many drinks between now and the end. Eddie and I, well, we headed out to the bar, but as these things go, we never made it that far. See, Eddie had stashed a few beers under the front seat, wanted to go hang out by the creek. But as we came upon the pullout with the creek shining below, neither of us had the good sense to realize those pine trees were a little too close. And as Eddie tried to thread the needle, Captain's truck got stuck, doors pinned on both sides, some real awful luck. "We gotta drink the evidence," Eddie yelled, as he devoured beer after beer. "When Captain comes to kill us, I don't want those cans of beer." So we did what any sensible person would do, and we shotgunned every last one of those brews, crushed the cans flat and stuffed them through a hole in the faux leather seats. Both thought we handled the situation real neat. And after about an hour, some locals came by, and they shook their heads as they pulled us out with a sigh. They assured us this had happened many times before, said to watch out for cops when we were going back past the store. So we crawled back to the boatyard praying Captain was still asleep, so we could climb into the forecastle and pretend this was all a dream. But as we climbed on board, their captain tottered 3 sheets to the wind, with that ambient liquid glow that leaves you looser than sin. "Boys," he slurred, "boys, tomorrow's the day when we run out to sea and make this thing pay. But the chiller needs some maintenance. Boys, she's overdue. Gotta loosen the old king valve. Hop to it, you two." So we climbed below deck and took a look around. "Which one's the king valve?" I wondered aloud. "The big one," Captain snarled. "Why do I ever ask for your help? Get out of my way, I'll handle it myself." So we bumbled through the hatch and commenced a wrenching on the valve, unleashing a string of profanity followed by the sound of a low hissing release, high pressure escaping into air. "That's what we want, boys. Gotta flush this thing once a year. Now we'll let her sit this way, clear out overnight, before we head downriver, put everything back together real tight. I don't have to remind you that tomorrow's gonna be one hell of a long day, so if you all know what's good for you, you'll stay the hell out of my way." 2 days later, we made it to Ugashik, the end of the earth, and for some strange reason, the RSW wouldn't work. She seemed to run just fine, but the water wasn't getting cold. And after 3 days of conjecture and amateur maintenance, desperation took hold. Captain called the manufacturer and raised all kinds of hell. He'd had it up to here with the cut rate, dry delivery price, and fishy smell. "I'm headed back to Naknek, and there better be an expert waiting for me when I get to the dock. You think I'm pissed now? Wait till my boot's halfway up your stern." So back to Naknek we went. The mechanic from Anchorage met us on the dock. Couldn't wait to step on board so he'd be on the clock. He dreamed about jobs like this for quite some time, flush with overhead, travel expenses, the whole nine. Why this job no one could figure out would take at least a couple of days to get done, and between now and then he stood to make quite a sum. He pictured white sand beaches and Mai Tais with little umbrellas, smoke-filled poker nights in Vegas with the fellas. But when he popped below deck to see what was the matter, he spied something right away that left his dreams in tatters. Why the damn king valve's been loosened, he managed to mumble. Any idiot can see that's your trouble. Now I'll fill her up with Freon and send you on your way, but you better believe before I go, I'm gonna get paid. So Captain coughed up the check, nearly kicked that mechanic out the door, his ears still red as we headed to Ugashing once more. When we got within range, Captain started fielding questions over the radio. All the fellas in the group wanted to know the source of our RSW woes. A damn pinhole leak. Captain gritted his teeth and hissed. Took that college boy from Anchorage a whole day to figure out what was amiss. The fellas gave him their condolences, told him they were glad he was back, and after all that commotion, Captain decided he'd hit the rack. But before climbing below to take his rest, he fixed us both with a god-awful glare I'll never forget. Boys, I don't even need to mention what'll happen if word of this ever gets out. Let's just say it'll involve putting my foot somewhere I ain't gonna talk about. Well, Captain, Eddie started, if you'd give us just a minute more of your time, I'd like to let you know something that's been on my mind. See, the night before we put out, and, well, we had your truck, wouldn't you know it, we ran into some real awful luck. See, we were just staying out of trouble, sitting there by the creek, when all of a sudden, two bears come charging from the woods. I nearly fell out of my seat. Well, they started going at it, and we tried to move your truck a little, but wouldn't you know, we got caught right up in the middle. And as it happens, they banged up the doors a bit. Minor cosmetics, nothing that can't be fixed. Well, anyway, just thought I'd let you know, no point in getting upset or nothing. These things, they come and go. Captain muttered, boys, I ain't gonna lie. That cover-up stinks worse than the laughing in your eyes. A pinhole leak, that's believable. Happens all the time. But two grizzlies humping my truck in broad daylight with you in it, I gotta say my bullshit meter's on high. If you're gonna stay in this business, you gotta do better than that. I'm not mad, just disappointed. Now try to keep it down while I'm taking my nap. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Hi, are you here for the Fisher Poet Gathering?
Absolutely.
Okay,
We
could
are.
I get your name?
Yeah, sure. I'm Henry Hughes.
Okay.
I'm Chloe Hughes.
Okay, and where are you from?
We're from the Salem area, Monmouth, Oregon. We teach at the university there.
Well, so what brings you to the Fisher Poet Gathering?
Such a great gathering. And so I did work in commercial fishing on the East Coast, and so I come and perform and read some poems. And we've just been talking to people and enjoying the culture of this town. This downtown is fabulous.
Anything you're looking forward to tonight, especially?
You know, I like the authenticity. These are real people who worked in a tough industry, commercial fishing, and so it's not overly literary. It's not overly kind of produced. It's raw and real. And so we've enjoyed every performance. Musicians, poets, just testimonies of that world. So it's all good.
We were talking with some women at breakfast this morning, actually, who had been in the same audience, right?
Yes.
And Loretta, their aunt,
He's 90 years
90
old.
years old, who read poetry last night. Beautiful.
Right.
And then mother and daughter and
Yeah.
yeah, yes, it's so amazing, these sun breaks and showers and the dramatic backdrop of the Columbia and the mountains and the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh,
thanks
great.
for hosting
Yeah.
us.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're welcome.
Thank
you.
Thank you.